All right, here. Today I'm going to talk about NASCAR Cup Series driver Erik Jones and where he can possibly end up for the 2021 season. But I'm not only going to talk about that, I'm going to talk about Bubba Wallace, his new sponsor, and potentially his new owner. And also, there's going to be a new Cup Series team in 2021. And who is it going to be owned by? So, got a lot in store, so let's get started.
Ryan Priest, and you're watching William Blackwell on YouTube.
Alright, here. I'm going to start off with the Erik Jones situation. Just a couple of days ago, the Joe Gibbs organization made the announcement that they're going to part ways with Erik Jones at the conclusion of the 2020 NASCAR Cup Series season. This was big because not only did it leave a ride open in a top-notch team, but it also put a top driver in the market, so he can go anywhere now. But I'm going to break down the timeline and statistics of Erik Jones. He's been racing in the Cup Series for 5 years now. He raced in 2015 for Kyle Busch and Matt Kenseth later on in the year. Didn't race in 2016. 2017 raced for Furniture Row in the 77 car. Was somewhat competitive. And then 2018 went to Joe Gibbs, and then from 18 to 2020 he's with them. So here are some of the stats. 5 years, like I said, 133 starts, 2 wins, the 2018 Coke 0400, and the Southern 500 in 2019 at Darlington. And he won the Clash this year, but that's not a points-paying race. He has a total of 29 top 5s, a total of 57 top 10s, and a total of 616 laps led. His average finish is 16.2. Kind of made sense for Gibbs to move on for him because he ain't really getting an average finish so it kind of made sense, but Erik Jones, week in and week out, usually won the fastest Gibbs car, but he had to finish the show for it. But here's the timeline here. Like I said, he got in 2015, raced for the injured Kyle Busch at Kansas. And then later on in the year, Matt Kenseth got suspended for the whole Joey Logano incident where he wrecked him intentionally at Martinsville. So he raced in the 20 car for a couple races there. And fast forward to 2016, he races full time and gets somewhat cheated out on the final restart. Cole Witt stayed out and spun his tires, and there was no point in staying out, and he did not have any chance of winning. It's just simple. But it screwed Erik Jones' chances of winning, and Daniel Suarez won that year's championship, and history was made. But Erik Jones could have won that. But in 2017, Barney Visser took the big gamble and signed Erik Jones. Barney Visser is the owner, or was the owner of Furniture Row Racing. So they put him in the 77 car, and his teammate was Martin Truex Jr. Truex was the team's best driver, and Jones was up there week in and week out. He wasn't really contending for a win, but he was up there in the top 5. I wouldn't call it contending for a top 5, contending for a win, if you know what I mean. But week in and week out, he was somewhat competitive. So it caught the eyes of Joe Gibbs, his former owner, and he decided to bring him over in 2018 and replace Matt Kenseth. And since 2018, he's only, like I said, had 2 wins and made the playoffs in 2018 and 19. But 2020, he finds himself in a odd position, about 30 points below the cut line. So he's going to have to get a win more than likely because points nowadays are starting to get harder to come by. So a win will guarantee him a playoff berth. But there you go there. But there's a couple rides open. One today, possibly a new one that can be a option for Erik Jones. I'll get to that in a minute. But Erik Jones, I find this really, really interesting. He has the same attorney as Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson's ride open in 2021. It can go hand in hand, just saying. But his top options, in my opinion, number 1, going to be the 48 car for Rick Hendrick. Number 2, going to be the 42 car from Chip Ganassi. And the 3rd car, he can possibly, keyword here, possibly go back to the 77 with a new owner and new team, Spire Motorsports. The 4th team that's emerging, it is called Team House. That's a new one. It's owned by Justin Marks, and Justin Marks made the announcement earlier, or at least Adam Stern did on Twitter, that he's going to open up a new team come 2021. and it's going to promote STEM drivers. And thinking that the 2022 season rolls around with the next gen car, it's going to be a lot cheaper, so teams can have more, afford it more. So there you go, there. So those are just 4 options. I really don't know the 5th one, maybe Roush Fenway. But now I'm going to talk about Bubba Wallace. All right, here. Earlier this morning, Bubba Wallace was on the Today Show, and he made the special announcement that he's bringing a new partner on board. And that new partner is going to be DoorDash. And this is big because he needed sponsors to grace this whole season without going sponsorless, and now he's pretty much got it wrapped up. Earlier this week, he got Columbia Sportswear, and now DoorDash. So things are looking good for Bubba Wallace. But there have been some rumors lately. I mean, some big rumors going around that Bubba Wallace's team, Richard Petty Motorsports, might introduce a new owner to the facility. There's a couple names going around, such as Denny Hamlin, which is a big wild card, which I'm not too sure if that's true or not. But I've heard names like Michael Jordan might come into the mix, LeBron James, and so many others. Brad Daugherty kind of gave it a hint away earlier this week, saying some of his NBA friends were felt unwelcome, but now they are welcomed. And it just makes sense, or it seems like you're putting the pieces to the puzzle together. If you put an NBA owner in a 43 ride, it just makes sense. So, in my opinion, I think it's going to be an NBA superstar that's going to have somewhat of ownership of Richard Petty Motorsports, because Adam Stern yesterday did put out a tweet that a celebrity is in contact with Andrew Merston, which is like the big owner, like besides Richard Petty at Richard Petty Motorsports. So you never know in today's world. So everybody, though, remember to please like and subscribe.